Hi all, I'm Dee and welcome to D Code's YouTube channel. So, in this live session, we are going to be seeing about Wipro's business discussion round. Okay, so you would have already completed the online assessment round and the SVAR round. Now, if you would have received mail for after SVAR round for business discussion round, right? So we'll be seeing what exactly it is. It is pretty new, and I'll be telling you a ton of things like frequently asked previous year questions. Like I've got like 40 questions, so this will be really useful for you. Okay, let me just set up my chat so that I can talk with you people. Okay, so amazing. So I've got my chat set up, and now let's just get into this video. But before that, I would like to show you my YouTube channel, which is Decodes. So the purpose of this channel is to be useful for others who are all preparing for interviews, getting like trying to get leveled up in their career. So this channel will be helpful for others to get into the next step of their lives. Okay, so I've got various contents. So various companies, technical interview experience, HR interview experience, previous year questions, aptitude questions, coding questions. I've got like hiring updates, a top programming MCQs that has been asked. So my team is also working on Python shorts. So firstly, I used to have Java shorts. We used to have Java shorts, but now we also have Python shorts introduced. I've even got a Java course that's going on in my channel. So please do subscribe to me because if you don't want to miss any updates in the tech world, then my channel is the go-to for you. And also, like if you just want to be improving yourselves, then my channel will definitely will help you with that. So please do subscribe and like this video. So if this is going to be useful for you, and share it with your friends who are also preparing for Wipro's next round or any other or anything in technical world, like specifically. So let's just get into this video. Okay, so let me see if I've got anything in my questions in my chat. Okay, I think next round is technical interview, not business discussion round. Yes, actually, it is actually business discussion round. I'll be explaining that because you'll be having technical interview and HR interview combined in this business discussion round. Okay, so that is this. Okay, Vani has asked any a bit about real-time entry HR results. So all we have to do is wait. No one has received anything so far. Like 5% of, not even 5%, 1% of the colleges have received the result, though 95% have not result anything, like received anything yet. So we'll have to wait. That is the update. Okay, I hope that answered your question, people. So let me just get into this. Okay, so what is business discussion round that is happening in Wipro? Okay, so in business discussion round, you'll have technical interview plus HR interview combined into a single interview. Okay, so that is business discussion round. Okay, so usually we just have technical interview and then HR interview. No business discussion, we have these combined. Okay, let's see the average time limit per candidate. So it is going to be 20 minutes, maximum 30 minutes, but the average is actually only 20 minutes. And the panelists, you'll have only one panel member and the person will be interviewing you. And now this is an elimination round. Of course, this business discussion round is an elimination round, and the mode of interview is actually virtual. It will be online. Okay, this is the thing about it. So we'll be having technical interview in here. Let's talk about that. Okay, so before you arrive, so before you get yourself ready to attend this particular interview, you would have got it scheduled. You will have to be ready with all the soft copies of your certificates and resume. So all of the certificates that you own, like 10th, 12th, mark sheets, and then like various, you would have mentioned something in your resume, right, that I'm certified in this and that. You should have the certificates, the soft copy ready in your desktop so that you can show it to them whenever they are asking, and you should also have your resume ready. Okay, so this is the mandatory thing that I wanted to just say. Now let's go. Okay, so these are all the expected topics actually for this particular round. Okay, let me just, before moving on, I'll just see if I've got any questions or anything. Okay, not yet. Okay, fine. Let me just go into this. Okay, so these are all the expected topics that you can get in this round. Okay, starting with introduction of yourself, self introduction, and you can get project related questions, technical questions, coding questions. So technical questions is that you can get questions from subjects. Okay, coding languages, subjects, and also particular coding question and behavioral question and HR questions. Okay, these are all the expected topics for this particular round. So okay, so I just wanted to tell you that you need to be prepared in all of this, and I've got the previous question, frequently asked questions. So please do watch this session till the end so that you can know all of these things, right? So I'll be giving you the question. So if you just practice this, this is like a one shot thing. Practice this and you'll be much more prepared than you already are. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, so the first thing I talked about was self introduction. This is a mandatory question, you guys. So at this point you should be thoroughly prepared with self introduction, right? So you need to so they'll be asking, tell me about yourself, can you please give your self introduction? So they can ask like that. So what contents you can talk on? Okay, you can give your personal information. So you can start with a greeting and you can give your personal information, that is your name, so your native, and that is the personal information, and that is enough. Your name and native is just enough. And then after that you can talk about your education. So start with the latest one. So the latest one is you're pursuing, like the latest one is like not pursuing, you've completed, right? So you've completed your BE or BTech, right? You can say about your BE, BTech, your stream, 12th and 10th. Okay, and then projects. So you can just talk about your projects. I've done like if you've got any internship skills also, because you would have done the projects over there. For example, you can talk about your final year project, your mini project, your hobby project, and the project which you did on internships, if you've done any. You can talk about that. And also you can talk about your technical skills. If you're really good in Java or Python or C++ or anything, any framework, also Spring, a Django, a Flask, or anything, you can just mention that. Okay, and then you can talk about your achievements. So when it comes to achievements, you can talk about extracurricular, co-curricular, sports achievements also. So you can say like for like co-curricular, you can say, for example, like you've participated in elocution, extempo, and you've won prizes on that. And then I've participated in various events, sport events, throw ball, handball, and everything, and I've got a prize in that. So state level, national level, like you people will be the sports people, you can talk about that. Also extracurricular activities, like I'm really good in singing, dancing, so I've got prize on that. So this really shows that you've done something in your college times, and not only in curricular, extracurricular activities have also been done by you. And you can talk about your hobbies. Trust me, the interviewer will love to hear about your hobby. So it's so don't just stick to technical things. Okay, just like try to lighten up the mood. You can say about your hobbies, for example, reading books. So don't just say reading books just for the sake of it, because uh, they'll ask surely if you say reading books, they'll definitely ask the latest books you've read, what you learned from that, like questions like that. Okay, you can talk about this. And some additional points that I want to include are, you can also talk about your strength, weakness. Like I've got this strength, like I'm really hardworking, passionate, and also resilient. I have great vision, perseverance. Okay, and also you can talk about your weakness. Okay, so talking about weakness doesn't make you weak. Okay, it just shows that you have self-awareness, and you can back up it by saying that you've done something about it to overcome the weakness. Okay, for example, you can say things like um, multitasking is difficult for you, or you can say like sometimes I try to be too perfect in completing the things. You can say things like that. Okay, there is a variety of that. So you would have done self like observation, right? Self analysis. So from that you can know, and you should also back it up with the overcoming strategy that you have. So this is a self introduction. So you can talk. So I've given you some basic outline you can follow. Okay, so please do be prepared with it. So if you want a separate video on that, I can definitely put it up. So please do ask in the chat. So let me come to the chat and interact with you people. Okay. Okay. Okay, so there is no business discussion round this year. The next round is TA. Okay, so actually, you are just going to, anyway, you're going to get technical interview and HR interview, right? So I'm going to be talking about the technical interview part and the HR interview part also. So, okay, let me just go on with that, okay? Okay, so they can even ask, tell me about your family. So you can say, so you can just talk about your family, your mother, father, and sibling, and just that. So they can ask about this also. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so let's just talk about projects first of all. So this is the most common thing. If you like, if they have your resume, or if you present your resume, they'll definitely ask about your project. Okay, the project that you've mentioned first, the first two projects, surely from that. So you can get questions like, so what was the project about, right? So you can explain what problem the project solved. So because they expect problem solving, right? So you can mention the problem and then the solution, and you can say what was the project exactly about. Okay, and then they'll ask about the working of the project. So how does this work in solving this particular problem? You can talk about the working, and also they can also talk ask about the group members. So like these points, if they ask about the projects, you can say about these, talk about these points one by one, or else you can just give a gist, and they might also ask questions from these. Okay, what was the project, working of the project, group members. Okay, so like group members, what is your role? So you can talk about your group members and what role they did and what role you did. Okay, so I was the like kind of like the team leader. I led the team. I allocated tasks to each people so that they can do this also. Okay, so you can talk about it, and you can talk about how you were a good team player also. So okay, like these kind of things. And you can talk about the technology used. They might even ask questions on that. So the technology used are like, so I worked on this machine learning project, an application which used machine learning models and everything. And they might even ask about future scope. It's pretty advanced, so talking about future scope is pretty advanced, but they might ask on that. So what is the future scope of this project? Okay, so please do be prepared on these kind of questions. Okay, so what was the project, working of the project, group members, what is your role, technology used, and future scope. Okay, okay, let me come to the comment like chat, and let's see. So so you guys are talking about SVAR test, right? Okay, please do let us know in the comment chat, like if anyone has got SVAR results or anything, and if anyone has got their next round interview. Okay, it's mostly technical interview, looks like that, not business discussion round. So okay, let me just move on. Okay, so they can even ask, this is a very common question, how did you resolve conflicts in your project? So there is so if you are involved with multiple people, no, of course conflict is going to be there, and you can talk about it actually. So what kind of conflicts arose? The most common conflict is that someone might not do the project, actually their part. So you can talk about how you solved it. So here I want you to use a method called a star method. Okay, let me just explain that for you. I've even got a separate video on that in my channel, so which talks about the star method. So when they ask behavioral questions like this, you can talk about the star method especially. Okay, so let me just come here. Okay, so the star method actually, it's actually S is for situation, T is for task, A is for action, and R is for result. You can talk about the situation first of all. The situation was that one of my, like two of my team members were in a personal argument. Okay, so that really affected the flow of the project. So that is the situation. What was your task on that? So what did you do? So what was your task? So my task, actually I was the team leader, and I had to manage everything. So I had to lead them, help them, and I also had to do these project related works. That was your task. So what was the action that you took? The action, you can say the action that I took was, like I sat both of them down and talked what was going on between them, and I also let them know that in personal things cannot affect, right? So but we can also not be blunt about it. We can also not be blunt like, okay, your personal situation should not affect this professional, be proper. We can't say it. So you can try to solve the conflict between them, like ask them to express, communicate really well between them so that they can have a good rapport going on between them, right? So you can do that, and you can say it like that. So I basically came to a common ground with which they can work, okay, without thinking about their problems. I helped them. So the result was that with the help of me and with the help of my conflict resolution and their understanding too, I was able to solve the conflict, and the project went on smoothly and we completed it. So you can talk it like that, okay? This is the answer that I have for this. So far we've seen about, yeah, the self introduction part. So we've completed the self introduction part and then the project related questions, okay? So these are all the most common first two things that can be asked. I talked about the points that you can give on self introduction. Tell me about your family, and then tell me about your projects and questions that can be asked, and then how did you resolve conflicts in your project. I even talked about STAR method, a brief summary of so far what we've seen. Okay, now let me see if I've got any questions in the chat. Okay, so okay, you guys, did anyone actually see results? Okay, you just let them know in this chat, so that will be useful for people watching this also. Okay, so I was talking about the technical questions, right? Technical question, right? Okay, so yeah. So in this technical interview itself, they'll be asking which language you are comfortable with, right? So you can either say whichever you are comfortable with, if it is C++, Java, or Python, or anything. So I've given specific questions from which they can ask. So if you say C++, C or C++, then the most commonly asked questions are these. Okay, let's go over this one by one. So the basic question is that the difference between C and C++. Okay, so this is a very basic question. Let's see. So actually C is a procedural programming language, but C++ is actually an object-oriented programming language, right? So you can talk about that, and also you can talk about the input and output, very basic thing. In C you use a scanf printer, but in C++ you use C in, C out. Okay, and there is this another point also. C doesn't support functional overloading, but C++ supports functional overloading. All of these basic concepts, okay? C doesn't support inheritance, C++ supports inheritance. Okay, just try to remember this. So these are all the things that you can have. Also, C uses malloc, calloc free, but in C++, the memory management is actually dynamic. Okay, these are all the points that you can talk about if they ask about the difference between C and C++. Okay, now let's move on to the next. What is pointers in C++? So pointers, it's introduced in C++, right? Okay, so definitely there will be a question on that, because Java doesn't have pointers. So C++ has pointers. So let's see about that. So pointers are actually special variables which store the memory location of a particular variable. Okay, so these are all the pointers. So these pointer variables point to a certain the position of certain variable, that is the memory, right? So these so we use the asterisk to denote the pointer, and we align the address of the particular variable to the pointer, and we use ampersand for that. We can talk about it. Okay, C++ has and uses pointers, right? So okay, the next question they can ask is malloc and calloc. So these are all used for actually memory allocation. Okay, so what, this is a standard question. They'll definitely ask about the malloc and calloc. So let's see. So actually malloc, so while you're calling this malloc, you'll be passing a size. So this will allocate memory for a particular size in bytes. Okay, and also these allocated memory, it's not going to be initialized with any value. So there are going to be garbage values on it initially. Okay, so there is not going to be any initialization, right? So that is malloc. If you take calloc, actually this allocates memory of an array of elements. Okay, so each of them are going to be of certain size, and actually this initializes the particular memory location with values depending upon the data type, right? So this is the difference between malloc and calloc. So I'm just giving you some points. These are the questions that you can expect. So let me come to the chat and see if I've got anything. Okay, let's just move on. Okay, swap two numbers without using third variable. So there can be questions on that. Okay, so this is a pretty common coding question also. Swapping two variables without two numbers without using a third variable, right? So you can use XOR, you can use addition, subtraction, operators like that to do it. Okay, so you can okay, and then features of C. So features of C, a common question. So it is an assembly language. This is a low level language. So C doesn't support object oriented things. It's a procedural programming language. It doesn't support like inheritance, function overloading and everything. It has memory, like memory allocation. It's explicit memory allocation, like malloc, calloc. So these are all the features of C. And what is recursion? This is also a basic question that you can expect. So what is recursion? Actually, recursion, you know it, right? So a function which calls itself, so it's called a recursive function, a recursion. So you can also give an example program for it. And also for recursion, so stack. Okay, if you're so recursion uses stack memory, right? So you can talk about that also. So if you choose C, C++, these are all the questions that you can expect. Okay, let's move on. What if you choose Java? These are all the basic questions that you can get. Why Java is a platform independent language? What are all OOP concepts? So abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, OOPS concept with real life examples, multi-threading, and things like that. So like even with C, C++, so with C++, you can get like inline function, friendly, like you've got that, like friendly functions, you know, the most common standard questions like that. So in C, C++, you can even expect that also. Okay, and also you've got like four variables: auto, extend, register variables, static variables, and all of those things, right? So access modifiers, you can also expect that also. Not access modifiers, these are all the variables: auto, extend, static, register, things like that. Okay, let's move on. Java. So why Java is a platform independent language? So you know, right? So the answer for that, you've got like JDK, JRE, JVM, right? So we can run that bytecode, it will be generated, we can run it on anywhere. We just need to have the proper JDK. Okay, so that is, you can just talk about that if they ask about the Java being a platform independent language. And the most common question is what are all OOP concepts? So you can say talk about classes, objects, and also polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction. Okay, so you can say that classes are actually a blueprint for a particular thing. So classes are helpful in giving that blueprint basically. But when you create object for the particular class, these particular methods and variables, they come into picture. They have memory allocated to them and all of that. So you can talk about the class, object, and all of the basic OOP concepts. Okay, let me come to the chat and see if you've got any questions. Okay, so okay, no questions yet, so let's just move on. Okay, and then you've got like abstraction, encapsulation. So abstraction is actually like hiding the unnecessary functionalities that's not really need to be known, and just only showing the necessary functionalities. That is abstraction, so hiding. So basically that. So we just need to know like what is going on. So what is going on with something, not how it's going on, what really happened behind the scenes. We don't need information on that. Okay, and then talking about the encapsulation. So encapsulation is basically like a class is an example for encapsulation. Okay, for example, if you take a class, basically uh, covers, encapsulates the data members and the methods into a single unit. Okay, so that without a special permission, like without if you don't have any access to the particular class, you can't modify it. That's how it is tightly encapsulated. So that's where access modifiers come into picture: public, private, protected, default, right? So you're just going to be doing that. So they can even ask questions on access modifiers, differences between this, because you people just you might get confused with that, right? So you should be prepared on that. And then OOP concepts with real life examples, you can say animal is actually a class, and then So we can create objects for the class. So for example, you can say car. A car is a class. It's going to be having the blueprint, and each and every part is going to denote that, or all the objects and the functionality of a particular car. For example, driving a car, accelerating a car, braking the car. So those are all the methods. For example, like that, you can give that kind of a real life example. What is multi-threading? Okay, so multi-threading also, you can talk about the wait notify functions and everything. So that is all about the multi-threading and everything. So in Java you can expect this. And one of the most common question is why Java doesn't have pointers. So why Java doesn't have pointers is that for safety purpose. So with the help of a pointer variable, you can directly access the memory location. So in case of sensitive information, you can easily get that. Hackers can easily get that, right? So that's why Java doesn't use pointers, but internally Java uses pointers. So Java has reference variables, right? So internally Java uses pointers, but we wouldn't know what's happening internally. That's where abstraction comes, right? So that is it. So that is why Java doesn't use pointers for safety purpose. Okay. Now if you say you are very strong in Python, then you can expect these kind of questions. So difference between C and Python, like there are a variety of difference, right? So C is such like a low level language. It's an assembly language, not a low level language. It's an assembly language. It's like middle level. But Python is a high level language. Python is object oriented. C is not. C is just procedural, right? So Python is easy in syntax wise, but C is having heavy syntax, right? So we've got all of that, and also statically typing, dynamically typing, things like that. So Python is so in Python we don't have to mention any data type while like declaring the variables or even the functions, right? But in C we have to do that. So C is statically typed, Python is like dynamically typed. You can talk about that also. So you need to know the basic difference between C, C++, C Java, C Python, C++ Java, C++ Python, Java Python, and everything. All of that, those, because they're all like very basic kind of questions. Okay, let me come to the chat and see if we've got any queries or anything like that. Okay, Mr. Hola has asked, ma'am, when we can expect interview mail? I gave SVAR on 2nd September. So actually, yeah, so you will get it soon, like within 4 to 5 days. I feel like, yeah, it's like you won't receive results very fast. So if you've attended interview like the SVAR interview before itself, like before like 5 to 6 days or even a week back, like that. I don't know if anyone has done like that. So if that's the case, you would have received it, but it will take a minimum a week time. You have to give a week time. So I thought like if I come live and explain you guys, so in this week time you can prepare, right? So okay, so if anyone has got the interview mail also, please do mention in the chat. Okay, I hope that answered your question, Mr. Hola, but you will get it within a week. You'll have to wait a week's time. Okay, let's just move on. Okay, so we've got the difference between list and tuple in Python. Okay, so lists are mutable, tuple are immutable. So for list you use square brackets, but for tuple you use angular brackets. You've got things like that, right? So you can talk about it. So list has many built-in functions, but tuple doesn't have many built-in functions. There's a lot of difference. So if you are from a Python background, you need to know each and everything. So like if you're from Python, the most common question they actually ask is like the data types in Python, and also and list, tuple, dictionary, set, and all, right? So you need structures. Lambda function is a common question. OOP concepts in Python, because in Python you've got the OOP concepts such as polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, right? So yeah, things like that, right? So you need to be studying all of that. Okay, so how are arguments passed? So you've got like the statements break, continue, pass, things like that, right? So a closure function, like not advanced but just basics of Python, right? So you need to be prepared on that. These are all some of the example questions. Okay, so you can like oops concepts, polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, and all of that. So polymorphism basically means many forms. You can talk about that. A function existing in various forms, that is polymorphism. Right. So that is the thing with with polymorphism. And if you take in Java, or in C++, you've got like runtime polymorphism and compile time polymorphism. But in Python, you just have like this polymorphism, which is just um, overriding, method overriding. Okay, that is the simple thing that you have. So as you can talk about that. And with respect to inheritance, inheritance, so child class, parent class, simple inheritance, multi-level. So Python doesn't support multiple inheritance, and also Java doesn't support multiple inheritance. So diamond problem can also be asked in Java. So interfaces, even in Java you can expect question on like interfaces, right? So difference between abstract class and interface, questions on that, method overloading versus method overriding, compile time polymorphism versus runtime polymorphism, questions on that. Okay, so okay, let's move on. We've got like inheritance, and I talked about it, right? Single inheritance, multiple, not multiple, multi-level, hierarchical, hybrid, and everything. And lambda function, yeah, you need to be knowing lambda function if you're studying Python. That's really important. Okay, and then encapsulation, as I talked before, encapsulating data members and the method into a single class. So you in Python you have public, private, right? So things public, private, and protected. So okay, things like that. And so one common OOP questions in anything is that constructor, destructor. Definitely they'll ask. So what is the purpose of constructor? A very basic thing. Okay, so constructor. So when a constructor is called, like when an object is created, automatically the constructor is called. So basically the constructor constructs the object, and it's going to be initializing the data members with default values like that. So but we can also override the constructor, right? So that is the thing with the thing, like the constructor and destructors in Python, Java, you can talk about that. Python has destructors. You can use the del keyword, but it is also dynamic. You can talk about that. Okay, and then you have like how are arguments passed by value or passed by reference. Actually, this is most common in Python. Actually, it's passed by reference, right? You pass the reference, pass by value. So like there are many kind of arguments, keyword arguments, like quarks, args, things like that, right? So please be concentrated on that. Functions, so functions and arguments, types of arguments in Python. And what is pass in Python? So with pass we have break, continue, pass. So if you write pass inside a function, that means that, so if you don't want to give any functionality yet to a function or a class, you can just put pass to avoid any kind of error, getting any errors. And even with in Java, Python, you can get exception handling related questions, like try catch finally in Python, questions from finally. Okay, so what does finally do, what is try, what is catch? Okay, questions on that. File handling, exception handling, you know, to be studying all of that. So like revise all of these things. Okay, if you're from Python, start with the basics. Okay, data types, operators, functions, loops, if, conditionals, loops, and also concepts, function, like error handling, exception handling, and then file handling. You just study that. Okay, and anything other than that, yeah, these are all the commonly asked questions with respect to Python. With Java, if I have to say, the same goes. OOP concept is a must, interfaces, abstract classes, and the extra things that you have also, right? So just study that also with respect to Java. Okay, the same goes for C++ also. uh, Please be concentrated on the pointers and the malloc, cloc in C, and also like OOP concepts and some different concepts you will have in C++, right? That is not in like Java or Python. For example, in C++ you have like um, in Java you have collections. Okay, they won't go that far, that advanced, but it is good to be prepared. In C++ you have a similar thing, like collections, right? You can study on that also. So these are all the commonly asked questions for C, C++, Java, and Python. Okay, so far we've seen all of these, and they can even ask technical questions on DBMS. So DBMS questions are pretty basic. They'll ask mostly these. Okay, so what is DBMS? So what is DBMS? What is database? Difference between a database and a DBMS. So before moving on, let me just see if I've got any queries in the chat. No, not yet. Okay. Okay, let me just move on. Okay, DBMS means database management system, basically, right? So you've got like a database. So database just stores the data in the form of tables, but database management system is kind of like an interface between the user and the database. With the help of this software, you can easily interact with the database through queries. That is DBMS. You've got like RDBMS and varieties in that, and they can even ask questions on like MySQL. What is MySQL? SQL, Microsoft SQL. So these use queries, and what is MongoDB that doesn't use query? Questions like that. Okay, and normalization. So pretty common question is keys, types of keys. So what is key and type of key? What is normalization and its types? What is joins and its types? Three common questions most commonly asked, okay, to test your knowledge on DBMS. Okay, so you can talk about the normalization in order to reduce the data redundancy. Okay, so we are going to like divide the a huge table into separate small tables and establish relationship between them. So you've got like different types of normalization, like 1NF, 2NF, 3NF, BCNF, 4NF, 5NF, and all of these things, right? And difference between unique key and primary key. So primary key, the value should, the primary key column should be unique and not null, right? But if it is a unique key, it needs to have unique values and null values also. That is the basic difference we can say. That is the difference between primary key and unique key. And please also study about the other keys like super key, candidate key, and we've got another foreign key. Foreign key is very basic. Okay, they'll definitely ask questions on that. What is foreign key exactly? Okay, so foreign key used to establish relationship between two tables to link them, so it maintains referential integrity. Okay, you can talk on that. Okay, the query, they can even ask query questions. Okay, the second highest salary from the employee table, like nth highest salary. Okay, second highest offer, like highest, second highest, third highest, nth highest. Please practice on that, the nth highest thing. And what are the types of joins? So joins, you've got like many types, so please do practice on that also. So like joins like left join, right join, self join, equi join, full outer join, inner join, like many types, right? So please do practice on that. So far we've seen about, like starting with this, we've seen about the introduction part, self introduction, project related questions, right? Technical questions. So I have covered C++, Java, Python question, and also DBMS. Right, so we can move on to coding questions. I've got some basic coding questions over here. Okay, so some of these basic coding questions, but you can expect more questions also. Okay, now let me come to the chat and see if you've got any queries. Okay, not yet. Okay. Okay, let's just see. So coding questions, for if you take number system, no, you can expect basic print prime number within a range. Okay, or else write code to find whether a number is a prime number or not. Print prime number within a range. What is its time complexity and space complexity? Okay, so you can also take Armstrong number, um, like Armstrong number questions, Fibonacci series. If you take number system, you'll have those things like GCD, LCM, questions like that, factors, finding factors of a particular number. Okay, so you can expect questions on that. Okay, so these are all the basic things, and you can also expect like yeah, this is all I can think of. And yeah, I've talked about Fibonacci series, factorial, prime number within a given range, Armstrong number. Okay, let's go on. What write a program to reverse the string without using any built-in functions. Okay, so yeah, if you are going to use Python, no, uh, like even with Python, Java, there are functions like reversed, like, so you can't use any built-in functions. You'll have to reverse it. Pretty basic thing. You'll just be using while loop and then two pointers and then like reversing it, right? So with Python, you can just use splicing, right? So uh, slicing technique. Okay, you can do that, and they can even ask in exception handling. Okay, we'll have to create an exception and catch that. So that is pretty simple. You will have to write the code inside the try block, and then you'll have to catch that in the catch. Okay, so there is a particular syntax for that. You will need to go through that also. Apart from this, what are all the other questions that you can expect is the largest number within an array, smallest number, second largest, second smallest, sorting an array. A common coding question is not a coding question, but sorting. So use bubble sort, or even explain the algorithm of bubble sort. So sorting, searching, you'll need to be prepared on that. Okay, sorting, bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort, quick sort, merge sort, heap sort. Okay, be prepared on this standard sorting questions. And also, like, you can expect on searching binary search. What is the time complexity of binary search? Okay, you need to be prepared on that. And then some other coding questions are sort an array but based on the frequency of elements. Okay, so these are some of the questions. String, with respect to string, like, remove the vowels, remove the consonants, questions like that. Count the substring, so find the substring, questions like that. Okay, these are all like the basic coding questions that you can expect, right? So okay, let me just see if you've got any queries. Okay, Toshika has asked, ma'am, I have a question that the interviewer will ask question from our resume, which we have submitted before, or they will ask us to show it while interview and will ask question from that. Okay, so in many service-based companies, this is the common practice. So whatever resume you have uploaded, okay, they'll actually have that on a separate screen and they will ask questions from that. That is how it was for LTI Mindtree and many other service based question also. So only in face to face interview they will ask for your resume and like ask questions from that. Okay, so if they don't have any resume with them, if they don't have your resume with them, then they will just ask basic questions like project based question, technical question. Okay, so they will never ask you to present your screen and they will not ask questions from that. Okay, I hope that answered your question, Toshika. Thank you for your query. Okay, let me just see. Okay, fine. Okay, let me just go. So these are all the coding questions that you can expect, so please be prepared with it. Okay, so far we've seen the technical questions that you might expect, right? So we've seen all of that, the technical questions that you can expect. So starting with each and every for example, like, yeah, project based questions, keep this in mind, project based questions. And then particular language question, C, Java, Python, or DBMS based question, and also coding question. So we've covered the technical part. So in technical interview you will have this. Now let's move on to the HR interview. Okay, so in HR interview, basically you can have behavioral question and HR question. Okay, behavioral question and HR question. So if you talk about behavioral question, no, so basically there is only one method to solve the behavioral question. So whatever question they ask, so talk about your strength, weakness, example of a team player. So whatever question they ask, whatever thing they ask, that I have like displayed, you just follow star method, right? Okay, you just follow star method for this. Star method means S is for, I've already talked about it, let me talk about it again. S is for situation, T is for task, A is for action, and R is for result. Okay, let's go one by one. Example of team player. Okay, like for this, so if you are, have you ever been a proper team player? So what is an ideal team player? If they ask like that, a team player should be, you can give a situation. So a situation like, so you've got many person within the team, and a team player should basically be doing their task correctly, and they should also be helping others, like if they're completed with it, and if someone asks them doubt, they should be proper with it, they should help in guiding them, right? And they should also be helping with conflict resolution and everything. That is a proper team player. Proper communication, like being helpful to others and to themselves, that is a proper team player, right? So you can pose a situation, this is a situation, and the task of a team player, and what action the team player can take that will give a good result. You can talk like that. Okay, what are all the qualities needed in the team leader? Okay, actually for behavioral question I have a separate video in my channel, like scenario based question, behavioral question, you need to use star method. I've discussed many examples, like 10 to 15 examples in that. You can go and watch that in my channel, it's in a playlist. Okay, so you can go and watch it, so that okay, let me just show you that. So okay, if you just navigate to playlists, no, there is a ton of playlist over here. You can see there is this playlist called as interview experiences, right? I'll just open that, and you can see top 6 scenario based questions, star method. I've talked about 6, not only for LTI entry but also for any service based or product based companies. They'll definitely ask scenario based questions in the HR round. So watch this video just about 15 minutes and you will learn a lot from this. Okay, I want you to watch this. Okay, so even in HR round they can ask puzzles. So I've even got puzzles. Okay, a puzzle such as burning rope, counterfeit coin, and things like that. So you can even watch that. So I've got puzzles and also scenario based. I want you people like if you want to be good in HR round, I would just want you to prepare on this. I'm just letting you people know. Okay, let me see if we've got any questions in the chat. Okay, no so far. Okay, okay, let me just move on. So you've got like the behavioral questions, right? So qualities needed in the team player. Actually, a team like a team leader. So a team leader should be down to earth basically. So the person cannot force someone to do the work. The person should be understanding. Okay, like he or she should know each and every one's personality, capability, and he or she should like take decisions or even talk to them based on that. Okay, like he should have good assessing power. He should assess each of these people. He or she should assess each of these people properly, and then be a team leader can also be a good team player. That's how a team is going to be very successful, right? So you can talk about those qualities. A team leader should be friendly, down to earth, very helping, understanding, and very guiding. Okay, you can talk about that. How would you handle a stressful situation? Questions like this. So they are putting you in a scenario and they are asking you how would you handle yourself in that. So in that case you can use star method. So situation, you can explain a stressful situation, a kind of like, you can talk like this. First talk about the situation. Okay, the situation was that um so we were initially for a project. So when I was working as an intern in a company for a project, I was given my team was given a week of time to complete it, but suddenly the deadline was changed to 2 days, right? Like within 2 days you'll have to complete it. So the deadline was changed. So that was such a stressful situation for us. So that is a situation. You can say what is the task. You can talk about the task. For example, I was responsible for the back end. I had to set up the database, like I have to set up the API and calls and everything, and that takes a long time. Okay, and then that was your task. What action you people took? What action you took? You can say what action I took to complete my backend like activity, backend role was that I prioritized. So there is always going to be priority, right? Prioritization. I prioritized the task. I had huge tasks to complete, and I broken down each of the task into multiple parts, and then I prioritized. So with the help of prioritization, I completed the work which was urgently needed, and then the least priority things I did at last. So with the help of prioritization, I was able to complete my project, my work. So the result was that we completed within the particular deadline. So it was very successful. This is how you need to explain. So this gives the interviewer a proper vision on how you are. Okay, you if you give this kind of an answer, they'll be convinced. Okay, so like you are the correct candidate for this and that. Okay, so what is the difficult decision you have taken in your life? So a difficult decision you have taken in your life, you can talk about mm, you can talk about anything that you like overcome in your like a difficult decision that really affected you, right? Sometimes it would have been like mm, a difficult decision such as like you might have got some examples, or even with the help of your life experience you can talk on that, right? So these are all the questions, and for this also I want you to follow star method, difficult decision. And if you're watching this video in a live session or in the future, I just want you to comment down. Okay, so what is the difficult decision you took in your life? Okay, and how that impacted your life. Was it a turning point in your life? So how was your life before and after that? I want you to comment, even like in the chat or in the comment box. I'll definitely be reading it because I'm pretty interested in knowing about that. Okay, so these are all the scenario based questions that you can expect, and you can go to my channel and watch it also. Okay, let's move on to the next one. You can even expect the HR questions. Okay, let me just come to the comment chat and see if I've got any questions. No, so far. Okay, okay, let me just see. HR questions. So, for example, the HR questions you can get like, why do you want to join Wipro? So, why are you choosing Wipro? There are a ton of other companies. Why do you want to join, especially here? Okay, if they ask like that, you can talk about how Wipro is the best platform to showcase your talent, your skill, your the skills that you possess, and you can talk about the company's basic things like the company's norms. I really like the company's norms, the technology that Wipro works on. So I feel like if I join Wipro, this is the best platform that's going to be not to showcase my skills. You can give answer like that. Why should we hire you? So basically, you need to show confidence in this one. So you can say, I possess these and these skills, these and these knowledge, and I'm pretty confident in exposing them, in showing them, and in cultivating them. And I'm pretty disciplined. I can be a very hardworking person. I don't need someone to be mentoring or monitoring me all the time. Okay, I'm self-sufficient, and that's why I believe that you have to hire me, so that this organization can get benefited from my work, and I can also get benefited vice versa, right? You need to talk confidently. And are you ready to relocate? So the answer is going to be okay, are you ready to relocate? So you'll definitely have time for relocation, just say yes. Okay, what are your strengths? Okay, so if the relocation position is actually, if you are in north and you'll have to come to south, then that is going to be difficult. You can say no. So if you say no, you'll be rejected. Just keep that in mind. So if you're not ready for relocation, they'll reject you. Okay, so if you're in like south, they're not going to ask explicitly all those things. So for now, just say yes. Okay, what are your strengths? So for strengths, you can say as I already told before, like you are a passionate hardworking person. You don't need someone to be monitoring you. You have like the grit and perseverance to take up a task and really do it completely. Okay, like you are able to put your 10 toes in when you're standing on business. Okay, so you can talk like that. Okay, and then what are the qualities of your hometown or city? So this is a pretty personal question, but you can expect these kind of questions like, what are the qualities of your hometown or city, whatever you like about it. Okay, so you can say that my city is famous for this. It has huge pilgrimage temples, and it is like a tourist attraction. Like many tourists come here. It has beautiful scenarios, many lakes, beaches. Okay, so depending upon your city or hometown, you can talk about that. So are you aware about our service agreement? So whenever you are going to be getting interviewed for a company, you'll have to know about the job description. Very important. Job description, the CTC that they are giving, and also about the service agreement. Okay, so you need to know about it, right? So these are all the HR questions that you can expect. Okay, so in this particular session, I've talked about, yeah, business discussion round. So initially it was mentioned that it was a business discussion round. So but now looks like it's going to be a technical interview round. It doesn't matter anyway, it's going to be technical interview first and then HR interview. Okay, in business discussion it's going to be happening like together. It doesn't matter anyway, you're going to be preparing for technical interview, so you might as well see this, right? So the next is going to be a technical interview round. I talked about this particular round, like the time limit for each candidate panelist. Is it an elimination round? Please keep in mind it is an elimination round. Mode of interview, and the expected topics, and I covered all of the technical topics and behavioral HR questions. I talked about self introduction, the points that you can give, like tell, like you can talk about your family, and then like if they ask, and then you can talk about the projects whenever you're posed with a project based question. These are all the questions that you can expect. And then conflict resolution with respect to a project. And then so if you say C++, Java, and Python, specific questions on each of these, I've given you all of this. So I hope this PPT, this particular session, was useful for you. So please do give this video a like and subscribe to me. I also talked about DBMS, various coding questions, like not only these but many. Okay, if you want me to put a specific video for coding question, DBMS, like Python, like technical interview questions for Python, Java, C, C++, specific, you can ask in the comment section or the chat box. I can definitely put that. Okay, and then behavioral question in HR round, HR questions and everything. I talked about all of these. So this will be like really useful for you for the next round of Wipro. So if you've completed your SVAR and are waiting for result, you can definitely prepare on this. Anyway, studying, learning, preparing, it's not going to go to waste. So please do prepare on it. Okay. So yeah, this is this thing. I've talked about all of this. Now let me come to the chat and see if you've got any queries, you can ask. I'll be waiting here actually. Okay, I'll wait 5 to 10 minutes and then let's just conclude this session. Okay, let me look at the stream. Yeah, okay, I'll just wait here. You can ask about Wipro or even any other company. I'll just wait in here. Okay, 5 to 10 minutes and then let's just conclude this session. Okay, I hope this was useful for you. If it was useful, please do give me a subscription. Okay, okay, so like you can go through my channel also. In the meantime, like I've got many videos, many playlists and videos for, especially for like coding questions, and also like hiring updates, assessment questions, okay, previous year questions and everything. You can go through this. This will be really useful for you, like even updates. So even in HR on, they can ask you puzzles. So I've got like burning rope puzzle question, counterfeit coin puzzle questions. I've got some puzzle questions I wanted to prepare on that. Please do watch the scenario based video also. So my team is working on many of these things, so please do give it a watch, share it with your friends too. Okay, let me come to the comment chat. So Chirag has asked, what will be the approximate elimination percentage of SVAR assessment for Wipro Elite? Okay, so approximate elimination percentage would be actually that depends on each of the people's performance. So approximate, they can probably eliminate like 30% of the crowd, you know. So initially after online assessment, everyone would have got, right? So online assessment, everyone would have got to the SVAR round actually. Like let's say 90% got into this, and then comes the communication assessment. So it's based on each of these people's performance actually. You can't really put up a like elimination percentage on it. But if I have to say, I can say like 30 to 40%, because I believe that like most of the candidates, like they are not that much strong in communication skills. That's why I think that they might get eliminated. Okay, depends upon them. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. Kirtana has asked regarding Hexaware. So regarding Hexaware, so the on-campus round, it happened on for most of the college. For some of the colleges, it happened on like August 27, 28 and everything. And for those people, they have gotten the results, and their group discussion is going to be in around September 10 and 11. They've got it. So the next round is group discussion, and then after that, directly it's going to be, and after that directly it's going to be like HR round. Okay, so Shiva has asked, ma'am, when we can expect interview mail? I gave SVAR on 2nd September. It's just 4th September, right? So 2 days only actually. So it can take a week. Okay, you'll have to wait a week between each of these rounds. Okay, Chirag has said in the first round they have eliminated 70% of students. I don't think so. They've eliminated 70% of students. Is that so? Actually, I don't think that's the case, because I feel like the people are still applying for it, right? So some of them are still attending the online assessment and everything. Even if that's the case, I think like it can go on to maximum, like they might have eliminated like 40% of the people or 50% of them. But let's see, actually, okay, let's see, let's assess each and everything. So let's see, after the SBAR mail is received by all of these people, I'll just assess how it's going on, and then I'll just update you with that. Okay. Okay. Any other queries? I can surely answer it. Okay. Okay, Chirag, I'll surely check on that, and I'll update, and I'll even put like an assessing video on that. Okay, Chirag, I hope that answered your question. Okay, I think this session was useful for you people.